second segment of the show. We're going to start talking about Hall of Famers here. Chucky, you got the floor. Lead us off.
Thanks, Mitch. The Phillies have had a lot of good players over their time, and they've got some right now that are in the on-deck circle for potential Hall of Fame consideration. And we're going to lean on Mitch and Bo for this segment more so. I'll try to keep my mouth shut a little bit more. That's a hard thing for me. And we'll offer some stats, background information, some things maybe that some of the fans aren't aware of. We're interested in knee-jerk reaction between the two professionals here. And we'd like to do a little maybe deeper dive. There's fan perception, there's dugout reality, and then there's a third side like we saw with Boone today. Who knew that Boone was ranked that high on the D-WAR all-time, and this guy threw out 50% of base runners in his career. I mean, I love Bob Boone. I didn't know any of that, okay? So often when we look at the stats, people interchangeably call analytics, just look at the stats. It does, in fact, tell a third story. So as we look at these players and how you guys knew them as professionals and what your opinions are, we'll dive in a little bit to a statistical thesis to see if there's a third dimension. So
there definitely is a third dimension.
So I'm going to start off with Bo, and we're going to start off with a very popular name, something I used to enjoy with my dad at Connie Mack Stadium. There was a heckler one night that obviously wasn't a Dick Allen fan, and Dick rifles 3 balls over the left field, whether it's a Coke sign or the Ferrero Cadillac, the first one, second one. You may remember. Do you remember the damn signs on the roof?
At Connie Mack?
Connie Mack.
Oh, yeah.
What was the first one? Do you remember what it was? The
I
advertisement? Anyway, he hits 3 balls into the night. And that, needless to say, that shut the heckler up. So I love Dick Allen. But we'll start with him, and then everybody will be heard. And then we'll move into Kurt and Bobby Abreu and Scott Rowland. All right, so it's table set, Bo. The floor is yours, buddy.
Dick Allen, in my opinion, should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. I know that, and I still don't understand this, that if you didn't get along with sports writers, that they would punish you when the vote came out. And I'll be the first to tell you that when I first came up, I was in the minor leagues, and I heard a lot of stories, bad things about Dick Allen. I mean, this guy's not a good guy. Mm-hmm. He's a troublemaker. He doesn't like to play, blah, blah, blah. And then, obviously, when he came back to us, there was nothing that I saw that any of that backed any of that stuff up. He was a great teammate, unbelievable baseball player, super hitter. He helped us. We were going through those stretches in the mid-'70s. He was a big tutor to Schmitty and myself and Maddox, and I'm really upset the fact that he passed away and he still didn't get the induction that he was going to get. I don't see. I mean, you compare him to Willie Mays, Hank Aaron. Compare all the numbers to those guys, and Dick Allen's right up there with all of them. But perception sometimes is not reality, and I have no idea what he was like when he first came up. Maybe he was a troublemaker. All I know is I remember him as a super guy in the clubhouse, still had great skills, and helped us out a lot.
Great teammate, Bo.
Great teammate. Great teammate.
Oop.
You think his games played hurts him at all? 117 games a year?
He did what now?
After his first 2 years, I think he's 161 as a rookie and
Right.
162 maybe.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, to Chad's point, you look at the next 10 years.
Right.
And the exact number, 120, 118, misses a lot of baseball. And here would be, from that side of the argument, this would be my pushback. And his numbers are unbelievable. Yeah. But I've often heard you say, Bo, that a player post up, they were there. I think that's what I mean by that. They showed up during the dugout. They had a rough night before, but they were there.
Right.
How many times did you play where maybe you should have been napping, respectfully? Oh, yeah. Okay. And maybe they weren't all injuries. Maybe Dick Allen just decided, I'm not going to play today, because 120 games and 162, and that adds up to the aggregate numbers. If you look at why he's less than 10,000 at bat, why he's less than hits, all the numbers are so short in the aggregate compared to Hall of Fame guys, not the seasonal numbers, in a snippet. But if you look at the longevity numbers, he doesn't play enough games per season to be able to break the threshold.
Well, yeah, you're talking
what's
about
the impact on the
He-
team there? He plays like a catcher, but
Yeah.
117 games as a catcher's put
Well,
out there. That
do-
hurts your team and wins it at the end of the year.
I do know this. When he came back to us in, what was it, 75? What was in the mid-70s? He would like to have played every day. He just wasn't. His skills diminished to the point where he wasn't playing every. So before that, he might have been one of those guys that said, "Hey, I don't feel like playing." It's hard for me to believe that.
I'm going to turn to our whiz kid here just to get in. So I don't want us to create a hazy
Right.
perception here. So he comes out 22, has this fantastic year, rookie.
Right.
162 games. You're loving that.
Right.
161. He very quickly drops down to 141, 122. Maybe there's an injury, bounces back to 152, only to drop back to 118 and 122.
What teams were those with?
Yeah, so the Philadelphia.
Mostly with the Phillies.
So the
Was it
Phil-
when he came back the second time?
when he came back the second time?
Well, see, he wasn't. I don't
No,
think he
no,
was
no,
an
no.
everyday
We're not-
player.
That
we're
was
not
in the
reading
that was in
now.
the
No, we're talking
when he was
about
at the end of his
early in his
career.
career. He's 162, 160,
Right.
140, 120, 50, 118, 122.
Right.
He's not playing.
Right.
Well,
I mean, there's something to that.
you
know?
look at the other guys on this list. They're right there in
Right.
games played.
Bobby Abreu was 161.
Bobby
Yeah.
didn't want to ever be taken out ever.
Right. Yeah. So that would be my only
Well,
pushback.
it says right here that Bobby only played 135 games a year.
You're taking
Yearly stats.
Yeah, let me qualify. There's one thing you have to do. You have to take the end of the trail off out of these players because you get 35 games a year, stuff like that. You take the mean average, like
Right.
in their prime. You
Correct.
know? So if you bring up Bobby Abreu and you
Bring
just-
him up when he played with the Phillies, the games.
I mean, listen to this. So Abreu, when he's 24 years old, is 151. Then I'll just track with you.
Right.
151, 152, 154, 162, 157, 158, 159, 162, 156, 158, 156.
It's a
Come
10-year
on.
period right
How do you
there.
compare that to Allen?
You know.
It's not close.
No.
And you know what?
If
It's
I-
And what
As
If
a-
I'm looking at this, but
I was just
the
saying,
reason
Go ahead, Mitch.
the reason he wasn't popular here, and we've talked about this,
Yep.
Chuck.
Yep.
He made everything look too easy, and it made him look lazy. He wasn't lazy. He
No,
just
he
made
wasn't lazy.
everything look easy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
In my mind, these three guys, there's one Hall of Famer on it, and that's Bobby. In my opinion.
What,
Well, you're getting to a
I
conclusion
tell you-
a little bit
I
quicker. than
tell
we
you
wanna
what.
get. You don't want us to shut the
I-
mics off yet.
I managed him the 4 years I was here.
Right.
And you know how you make out your lineup? Every day I would have my lineup card. I would put his name first in the 3-hole.
Right.
And then I'd go accordingly.
Everybody
after
else.
that. Who's available? Is he okay? Is he okay?
Makes your job easy when you can do
Put
that.
him 3 and the pitcher 9.
Right.
And then I'd fill in the rest of them.
Right.
That's what he does. He never won. There were games where I went up to him when we were winning 12-1 in the 7th inning. I said, "You want out?" No. I got another at bat.
And Bo, you just said earlier, perceptions are reality. We all know. Okay, let's deal with one of those perceptions. We know there's a ball or two that Bobby Abreu
didn't-
could
he
crash into right field,
couldn't run in the
and when it missed, and when it played 161
Right.
game, he wasn't dogged in right field, or
No.
did he? Or
No, he had a big time, not an accident, but he hit the wall hard once, and he got a little gunshot.
Okay.
It wasn't because he didn't care. Believe me,
right.
he cared.
I appreciate you
And-
putting that to rest, Bo. I
Yeah,
really do.
that's I
That's
hear
crap,
that, and
right?
I get upset at that because I watch this guy post up every single night. Oh yeah, but ball he hit as soon as it went to the
Yeah,
warning track,
yeah.
he bat. That's not true.
All right, so
He got hurt on a ball once where he hit that wall pretty hard.
Right.
It's like guy getting hit in the head, man.
Ask Bryce Harper. I
Right.
told this to Bryce during his rookie year because he'd run into walls and all that. I told him, your pitching staff would much rather you dog it on that ball, play it off the wall, and be in the lineup every day.
right.
The wall is undefeated.
Right.
It's never lost.
Because when you look at Bobby Abreu, and I heard a lot of that, but I was watching him as a fan, not agreeing, season ticket holder, not agreeing, and I would get in some vociferous arguments with people. One of my best friends, Patty DeMarco, God rest his soul, and he's a dog and he's just like that, and I wouldn't see it. I saw a couple balls, obviously, where he did not go back into the wall, so as you could have. But so when you do this stats on Abreu's coverage, he ends up having as many putouts, certainly way more assists. He had a cannon, right? So he had years
very
where he had
accurate, too.
19 assists, 16 assists, and got a Gold Glove. It clearly wasn't an arm thing. He had a lot more coverage than Roberto Clemente and right fielders Parker that were considered to be great right fielders. So you can't have great zone coverage. You get the 320 putouts catching the ball, and then have the fans say you didn't hustle. That's a bunch of crap. And I think the Philadelphia fans got to just come to grips with that. And you know, they go on Sports Talk Radio, they put this stuff out there. If the host isn't knowledgeable enough to push back or has a bias against the person, it becomes gospel. And I think I guess a lot of regions do that, right? But Philadelphia,
in Philly, if you make it look easy, it looks like you're dogging it.
looks like your dog.
Schmitty, when he first came up.
Right.
Let me say this real quick about Dick. Getting back to Dick Allen. So now, you know, Hall of Famers. You know, look at this 10-year span he had. So 10 years in his prime, he hit over 300 home runs, and we're not talking home runs in the parks today.
Or the balls being juiced.
Yes.
Correct.
Well,
right.
To your point, which is why they have OPS plus.
Right.
But boy, if you bring that up on a talk show radio, they hang up on you. OPS plus accounts for the ballparks. Allen played at a 447-foot dead center, right, Bo? How many home runs did he have caught that were really booming high and somebody right there playing them deep to begin with?
He hit balls as far as I've ever seen players.
Okay.
And I heard that
were
about
outs.
Dick Allen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Back to you.
So now, like you said, I didn't realize he played. You know, he not sat out or he was hurt.
Right.
So many games a year, like 40 games a year.
That's a lot.
Now imagine if he would have played in 150 games.
Man.
Now instead of 350 home runs, maybe he's got 450. Which by today's standards, by the way, is like that's all he's got.
Yeah.
Remember the days where 300 was, oh my God, 300. You know, just following Schmitty. 400 and 500.
Going back to those stats, like you said, if you struck out 100 times back then, they go, "What are you doing?" Now 100 strikeouts, that means he's putting in play a lot.
Order happy launch angle.
So.
Here's the best stat to augment what you just said about the games that he missed. Wait to hear this. Allen, with all those games out, amasses a 59 WAR. Now that's 59. Brehu's 64. Anything above 60 is way up there in career WAR. Give Allen half of the games that he sat out. And you're talking, based on his offensive accomplishments, you're talking about a guy that'd be 80 in WAR. So when he did play, he was absolutely prolific. There's no doubt about it. So, Mitch, if we're casting a vote for Dick Allen, is he in or out? And we'll go to the next one. What do you got? In?
Yes.
In with the Veterans Committee.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's what I have.
I don't think like Howard Baines got in.
Yep.
Harold Baines got in.
Right.
You know, I don't think he's.
I have him in with the Veterans Committee.
Yeah, Veterans Committee.
Mitch would have loved swinging his bat because Mitch liked those big bats.
Right.
I'm telling you, this guy swung a 35, 36, 40 ounces, and held it on the end.
Wow.
And had unbelievable bat speed. I never seen balls hit to right center like this guy hit them.
I swung a 36, but it wasn't no
40
friggin' 40 ounces.
40 ounces.
This guy. I told a story. This is a true story. When he came back, well, what year was it? 75? I forget what it was. The first time he came back. 75 or 76.
75. Yeah, 75.
I remember. I remember this like it was yesterday. Something happened to the lead bat we had. I told the bat boy, I said, "Give me Dick Allen." I'm swinging Dick's bat like a lead bat, getting ready
Weighted
to go.
bat.
Oh, unbelievable! But
The other one of you guys have a funny Dick Allen story?
I just enjoyed hanging around.
Right,
him.
okay.
I didn't get the opportunity to see him play.
Right.
I heard stories about him, but I never saw him play.
the only story I have, and it did come to fruition, is they said, Dick wore glasses,
Right.
and they said he very seldom got mad. He says, but when you seen him get knocked down, and he adjusted his glasses like this, he was very angry. So you didn't want to make him angry. But
Coach, there's a famous picture with him writing something with his foot over
that
first
was-
base. What was that all about?
Boo. Yeah.
They were
what was-
booing him.
Yeah. No, he would write that boo in the dirt.
Yeah.
Amongst many other things.
That was at Connie Mack.
You Connie Mack. Yeah.
And you know why I
That's
remember that?
yeah.
Because when I first signed, I had to come up here on weekends because I was playing in the minor leagues to go to Army Reserve meetings, and I used to go to the games. The guy in the front office would bring me here. and I'd watch him, and a couple times he wrote Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he wrote boo,
boo.
and everyone's
I remember
everybody
seeing
was
that
looking at
picture.
when he was writing
Yeah.
every single night. But
So people thought he was a little nuts.
Speaking of the roof at Connie Mack and the average, so I still have an article in the Philadelphia Inquirer that Dolson wrote that your first game up as a rookie, you and Doyle were talking, and you pointed to the left field roof and said, "Do they really hit him over that thing?"
Dick Allen did.
Dick out, right?
Like it was nothing.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah.
He was,
And how do you take that bat and put it level to the ground and bring it back? And you
if he had a launch angle, he couldn't have hit.
right?
Launch angle.
Unbelievable. All right, so Chad, Allen, in or out?
I'm gonna go out.
You're going to go out?
Okay.
We got one in the audience. Bry? Up. Okay. And I guess in this case, the dad and son are, and I hate to say it, but I love this guy so much. But I just think I respect the players that answer the bell, suit up.
Right.
And I've heard other baseball GMs talk about the value of a guy that's there every day to put in the lineup. And I just think that it's hard to reward the fact that he missed that much. It's not marginal. It's
Yeah, it
substantial.
is.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't
like-
notice it was that much. It
Yeah.
is.
So
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't
yeah.
realize
So we'll go to the next guy, and we'll start
it.
with.
So Dick doesn't get in. It's 3-3.
No, I think he does.
Does
you,
he?
You
I
guys,
was in, we
four,
were in.
I get him
four
on,
to,
I
four
get
to
him on the
two.
Veterans
4-2.
Committee.
Yeah,
Yeah, veterans.
4-2.
committee.
He's in
Yeah.
by this committee, and trust me, if that day ever comes, I'll be real happy for him because I love them. Mitch, why don't you start off with Bobby Abreu? What do you got?
I didn't get a chance to play against Bobby. I had the opportunity to watch him. And looking at these numbers, and like I said, he made everything look so easy that people here in Philly thought he was just too relaxed for this atmosphere here. In my opinion, I look at what he did on an everyday basis, and that guy right there, if he says he wants you on your team, then in my opinion, what Abreu did, that's a Hall of Fame career. 18 years doing that.
And the
Yeah.
numbers. And
The numbers don't lie.
Numbers.
2,500 games.
Yeah.
A lot of
And I
runs.
wouldn't have said that before this because Bobby was he was kind of an enigma. You didn't know what he was. So it wouldn't have been a guy I'd have shied away from if I was pitching. That's how I look at things. Is this a guy that Dave Winfield, I didn't want to throw anything he could reach, but he had arms that were 9 miles long. So that's what I look at.
We've addressed the doesn't hustle in the outfield nonsense. Here's another thing you'll hear a lot is that late in games that Abreu wasn't clutch. When you look at his, 2 out runners in scoring position, 929 OPS lifetime, 301 batting averages, late and close. That's, past the 7th inning, 1-run ball game, 280, 838. There's nothing you can find in Abreu's numbers, day, night, month, the year,
Doesn't
first
matter.
half, second. Don't matter. He's playing 160 games. And this is a guy, when you think about it in modern baseball, 8 times 100 runs, 8 times 100 RBIs, and 8 times 100 walks, Bo.
Yeah, that's
Well, and
Is that ridiculous?
there's another stat that probably it doesn't mean anything now because they don't do it anymore. 400 stolen bases.
Yeah.
Really?
No kidding.
Yeah,
Come on,
400
man.
stolen bases. Yep.
Come on. I mean,
He had 6
I
years
could
with
I
30
could run
plus.
and I had like 350, and I considered that time.
and it says here he only averages 70 a year. I mean 7 a year. No, that's caught stealing.
That's
22.
Caught
Yeah.
stealing.
No,
22.
no,
Yeah, well, it
400s.
dwindled late in the career, but
Yeah.
you look at some of his best years. He had a 40, a 36 in there. He had multiple 30s.
The scary part is, did you guys see the home run contest at the All-Star?
Oh,
Yeah,
that-
that was great.
Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
This is where baseball players sacrifice home runs
Right.
to put the ball in play.
That's a great point.
There's no telling if you sent Bobby up there and said, every at bat, go up there. Matt stares.
Yeah.
I'm going up there to hit a
He'll
home
get
run.
500. He would have hit 500.
He would
home
have hit
run.
500.
He might not. His average wouldn't have been very
no.
good.
And if you're not hustling, how do you average 46 doubles? And he had a year where he had 54 doubles and the stolen
Yeah.
bases of 400. What guy doesn't hustle
made-
his
he
way
made
into
it
400
look-
stolen bases?
He made it look too
Right.
easy.
So we could stamp it that that's a whole myth about Bobby Abreu
Well,
not hustling.
I
or
had him for 4 years, and
Okay.
I didn't see that one. if he didn't hustle one day, and I would say the next day, Bobby, what happened on that?
Right.
He goes, yeah, I know. But I
Right.
mean, it wasn't something we had to address it every single day. But this guy, I'm telling you, man, those numbers. I always thought that the Hall of Fame, and I might be wrong, they judge it on a 10-year period. Were you the
Correct.
best during those 10
Right.
years
Correct.
in the league?
Prime years.
And to me, that they've gotten away from that a little bit, I think. But
The one stat that resonates with me is, I mean, the name of the game, my dad used to always say, hey, buddy, if you get on base enough, you're going to play. If you hit a basket, you'll probably be on the basketball team. Well, it didn't work out for basketball. But this guy is 49th all time in getting on base. I mean, 4,000 trips to first base, or double, second base.
Yeah.
That's a lot of times on base. 4,000. I mean, that is unbelievable.
I'm looking at his plate appearances.
Right?
560 a year.
Yeah, we could all pick out a stat that's just fantastic, and then the defensive stats are better than guys like Parker, Jackson, and Clemente. He's just a lock for the Hall of Fame.
It takes one day to get a reputation in baseball, and it takes 30 years to get rid of it.
Exactly.
Well stated, Bo. Touche.
It's unbelievable.
Well stated. So we're a resounding 6-0 on Bobby Abreu to the Hall of Fame.
I can say for a fact that there is not a guy that would be playing if he wasn't hustling, if he was playing for Bo.
Oh.
I wouldn't,
So
I never had that issue with him. Maybe,
No.
like I said, every now and then he might have done something, and I'd say, Bobby, come on, man.
I want
Yeah.
to talk to you, Bo,
You're right.
about a point another GM had that I guess I should protect my sources here. You remember our dinner at them. So we're doing one-on-one, and we were lucky to have like an hour and a half, and the gentleman's still in baseball. And I was talking to him about campaigning, heading up for the committee for Bobby Abreu with Hall of Fame. And he said, I want to see you after the dinner. So it's very nice. So I stood back, and he said, save your money. He said, absolute lock for the Hall of Fame,
Really?
statistically. He says, I wouldn't let him around my players at the rookies, around the batting tunnel because of his attitude. They call it not doing any off-campus work, where in between seasons you'll do individual stuff.
Right.
The hitting coach out in California,
Right.
whatever like that. He said, Abreu put the bag down the last day and picked it up in spring training, didn't work hard in between. Did you ever sense attitude with the other players, stuff like that? Not
No,
at
in
all,
fact,
huh?
I'll tell you what happened.
I'm glad to hear
about
that.
4 or 5 years ago, we brought him in as a guest instructor. I'm trying to think who the manager was. Might have been when Pete was there. With Pete, yeah. So we said, let's bring in Bobby Abreu. It was unbelievable
Really?
how the Latin guys migrated towards this guy.
Wow, that's great.
And he
to hear.
had their attention in the batting cage. He was talking hitting. One thing Bobby would do, this would drive me crazy. I mean, the bases could be loaded. And you know how he gets up there like.
top hand. Is
Top hand.
And you
yeah.
know what?
This. Yeah.
He'd take a heater down the middle. And after a while, I'm watching this and I say, go, Bobby, do you ever think about ambushing? He says, Bo, I love hitting when the count's 0-2 or 1-2. And I'm going, man, you got to be a good hitter. Because if you feel that comfortable hitting 0-2, 1-2, you are something special. And every time you look up, it's 0-2 or 1-2, and the next thing you know, it's 3-2. He gets a walk
his
or
way
gets a
back.
base hit. It was unbelievable, but his mindset was, I know what I can do. I know what makes me feel comfortable. Because I used to say, Bobby, goddamn, you're taking a cookie right there.
Sure.
Everybody
Right.
knows you're taking the first pitch. Why
Right.
don't you unload? He goes, he goes, suave. I know what I'm doing. I know.
That was
Great
that
story.
was his big word.
And-
He was suave.
Oh,
He-
yeah.
Bo
Rico.
used the term earlier there that amongst baseball people we get, but explain what ambush means for the fans.
Well, your guy goes up there and he's taking all the time.
Right.
So when you have the scouting report, you go over the hitters and they say, "Oh, don't worry about the first pitch.
Right.
Just throw it in there.
Right,
He's
that-
taking." Now after a while, you say, "Well, wait a minute now. Now so I'm gonna jump on this first pitch," but he never felt comfortable doing that.
And for a while led baseball in number of pitches.
Oh, that was unbelievable.
So how much is that helping the team out? Okay, the other guys out there for
With the
X-
pitch count the way it is now,
That's what I mean.
Let me ask you a
right?
question.
Yep.
You guys are in the analytics big time. What would Bobby Abreu make now? As much as they love analytics, he falls in every category.
Every
here.
category, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, he'd be off the
He's
charts.
the top of your list.
I don't
for a lot
even
of
know if
people.
they'd have enough money to pay him.
No, I mean for 5 years his stats matched Trout, and we did that comparison. We couldn't believe
It's
it. Right?
remarkable, yeah.
It's remarkable.
How many years
Yeah.
has he been retired?
I think he got out.
Is he on there this year?
6 years.
No,
ago.
not this year.
Last
2014
year, he
when he last
just
played.
got enough
Just hang on.
to hang on. He renews up this year. So,
So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he's going to be another guy probably with the.
but is he going to get enough push?
He
see-
deserves it, but my concern with the Braves, he has a year where he hit 335. His OPS was just shy of 1,000. In terms of MVP voting that year, he was barely cut top 25.
Great
That's
point.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It just seems like he
Great
wasn't.
point.
What year
like,
was that?
He
That
did
was
it all
1999.
quiet.
Whiz kid
Yeah.
waited till late.
And-
He gave it a shot.
that needs to be better than that, and it should be in the top 10 probably. Look at the breakdown of the people, but is that
That's going to be.
He's
He's
not
going
going
to.
to carry
Well, I'm
over
gonna-
to the Hall of Fame.
And I will tell
They
you right
probably
now,
won't.
And he
with
didn't win.
the writers probably, it was 99?
99, yeah.
How many games they lose that year? 100? I
Uh,
guarantee
pull
writers
it up.
went,
Yeah.
well, if he's
Maybe.
that good, why'd they lose?
He also led the league in triples that year too. And
Yeah.
not
My
even barely
issue
top
is-
25.
Never
Why-
got the third bell without hustling, did you?
Why are sports writers deciding who are Hall of Famers
Thank you.
in our sport?
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't have a thing to do. It should be made up of ex-players.
Could agree more.
Correct.
Well, the other thing, Bobby didn't like talking to writers. He was very quiet. He was
Right.
very laid back and quiet, and he didn't want to have, he'd had 4 hits, and they say, hey, Bobby, I'm okay. I got 4 hits. He didn't. So that's held against them. If
Sure.
if you're not in with the sports writers and don't accommodate them every time they want an interview, I'm telling you, they remember that, and they say, man, I'm not voting for this guy. It has nothing to do with his ability.
They should have no say at all in who is in the Hall of Fame. None.
Well, again, right now, Mitch, as you well know, they're comparing numbers now, and they're going back and saying, well, look at what he did when he played. The numbers now are so much different, and the
Yep.
parks are smaller. The
Right.
balls are different.
You're facing 5 pitchers a night.
And pitchers, think about this, regardless of what people want to believe or not, if you got a pitcher out there that's mean and you get in that box, in the back of your mind, you're saying, man, I wonder what kind of mood he's in. You don't see that now. Everything's center away.
Right.
They'll miss in once.
can't
Next
pitch
5
in.
pitches, they
Right.
can't pitch inside.
Gibson's starting in on
Oh,
them
my
platters, right?
God.
How tough was he? Gibson.
This is a true story. Now, Schmidt's a rookie. He beat Gibson at the vet with a walk-off home run. Gibson walked off the mound. It was the 9th inning. He straddled the line going in the dugout. He made Schmidt go around him.
Really?
And this is when Schmidt's a rookie now.
Wow.
So we play them a week later in St.
In
Louis.
St. Louis.
And I went, I wonder if he's going to hit Schmidt. Schmidt didn't do nothing. He didn't throw the bat. He didn't, first pitch he drills him.
Go.
And they asked him on the interview, was that on purpose? He goes, no. He says, hitters have to realize that half the plate's theirs and half the plate's mine. You just have to guess what half I want that night. I mean, that's the kind of attitude guys like him and Nolan Ryan and Mitch should drill you in a minute. But that part of pitching is gone.
Yes.
Oh,
These guys hug each other before the game.
Yeah.
They go out. They have the same agent. Nothing against. There's a lot of good players, believe me. But do you think somebody wants to hit Mike Trout?
Right.
Huh?
Right.
He'll get buried.
We get buried,
But
absolutely.
people,
I've had good friends. I drilled Mickey.
Well, a very illuminating point, Bo, because you bring us into our lightning round topics. But let's do it now. Let's talk about pitching inside, retaliation, how it should work. You don't headhunt. Let's talk about what's happening in the game today versus how it should be done.
Well,
it does have a place in baseball, right, Bo?
no question.
Mitch?
But in all fairness to the pitchers, if you hit a guy now and some umpire, even if it's a breaking ball, they think it's on purpose, you're suspended 8 games.
Yep.
So I get that part of it. That means you're not getting paid. You're going to miss starts. I get that part of it. But back when we played, you didn't have to tell a player, hey, I want this guy drilled. If Mitch saw one of his best players getting hit, you didn't have to go up to Mitch or Dutch or Bob Boone and say, hey, you need to drill their best player. You didn't do that. It was understood, hey, you hit our guy, I'm hitting your guy. And it was taken care
This is
of.
perfect example
It was
of
taken care of.
Fergosi knowing that I knew the game
Right.
and what had to be done. We're in Pittsburgh. We're getting beat 8-1. It's like 95 down in the bullpen. Phone rings after the 7th inning. It's Fergosi. Said, tell Mitch he's got the 8th. We're losing 8-1.
I got it.
I'm like, I got the 8th. I walk over and I look at the lineup card and I see Bonds is leading off.
Boy.
Earlier in the game, he went and spiked Mickey in the chest, sliding into second. I knew I was coming in the game.
Yep.
And nobody had to say.
No one had to tell.
But see,
I
now-
got told to hit
but
somebody.
that-
I got told to hit Bob Boone when I was a rookie. He was catching for the Angels. I could not, in my mind, figure out why I'm throwing at Bob Boone.
I'm stumped.
I wouldn't. If I'm going to hit somebody, I'm going to hit somebody hitting 350. I'm going to hit somebody hitting 200.
That's great.
Yeah, but now if a manager or coach went up to a pitcher and said, "Hey, I want just say Mitch was an everyday. I want Mitch Williams to drill the first pitch." I'm telling you, the mentality of these guys now is if a writer went up to him, they're liable to say, "Hey, Bo told me to hit him."
Right,
Yeah,
right.
be on
It's-
TMZ.
You don't do that anymore. So that's why managers got to protect themselves. You can't go up to a catcher or if you're a good baseball guy, a player, you know what you're supposed
That's
to do.
right.
That's the bottom line.
I have a great story on that.
Share it.
We're playing in Boston when I'm with the Rangers, and I think it was '87. Oil Can Boyd is on the mound, and he hits our catcher, Don Slott, right in the face. I mean, his face shattered. Grossest noise I've ever heard. Blood everywhere. Valentine comes in the dugout, and we had a left-hander on the mound, Ricky Wright. He was a reliever. And he goes up to Ricky. Rich Gedman, their catcher, was leading off. He said, "I want the first pitch, a slider in the dirt away, and then I want you to drill him." And I'm sitting there listening to this. Like, okay. He goes out there. Gedman swung at the first two pitches and fouled the third one off, and he's supposed to be getting thrown at.
Right.
So Valentine goes
That's great.
to a big right hand, Dwayne Henry. We called him Pie Face. He's high school,
I was laughing. He
high
sees it.
school All-American in 3 sports.
Pie face.
He was clocked at over 100 on a ray gun
Oh,
when
brother.
he was 18.
Right.
Had Tommy John, he was still throwing 97.
Oh man.
So but he had a real easy personality, real light-hearted guy. And Valentine goes up to him and says, Baylor was leading off the next one.
Oh, man.
He goes up to Pie and he says, "I want a slider in the dirt first pitch. I want you to drill in the next pitch." Pie said, "Okay." Swear to God, he walks out there
She's Baylor.
and he drills Baylor right in the ribs.
First pitch.
First pitch. And Donnie didn't care if you hit him as long as you didn't get up around his head.
Right.
So he drills him, and he turns around and starts walking to second base and looks at Curtis Wilkerson, our second baseman. He said, "Is he coming?" Donnie went straight to first base. But that's how it's handled.
So you pitch in, you protect the plate, but you never headhunt, right? There's
No,
place
you
for
don't.
that in
Don't
baseball.
you-
Oh,
that-
right.
No matter what era you played, you don't want. You could kill somebody.
Absolutely.
You know. You
That's
can't-
the thing.
What
Well, they're
the
wearing
Mets?
football helmets nowadays.
Right.
They all got that big thing coming over.
How about what the Mets were doing the last couple of years with Reese Hoskins throwing?
Oh,
up
you
and
can't do
They're
that.
throwing at his head.
No, because you're
Yeah,
talking about
face.
And the problem with that is, if he's getting thrown at like balls up around his head like that, you have to, as a pitcher, go in there and ensure that doesn't happen anymore. How do you do that? By pitching in or drilling somebody.
Right.
Just to send a message, no, you're not going to miss around somebody's head.
Does Major League Baseball, I mean, you hear this in Little League, but it makes sense in Little League, of course. You get a kid out there who's 11, he happens to be 6 foot, and he's throwing 65 and has no idea. As an umpire, I have said to the coach, that's it. That's 2 batters in 1 inning. One more, we have to remove him. That's a Little League rule for protection, just
Right.
like running over the catcher. You can't do that. In Major League Baseball, Bell, if an umpire senses that people are getting hit, they're getting hit high, because this guy just doesn't have control. It's not malicious. It's 7-0. Can they say there has to be a change? They can't dictate that, or can they?
They can say that, but like
Not
Mitch
to see-
said, these guys don't know how to pitch inside.
Right.
So
Pitching inside is not hitting people.
no,
Right.
Pitching
Exactly.
inside is establishing
Take
the
the
inside of the plate so you can have the outside.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You can't pitch in anymore. So now you got guys like Yasiel Puig. When he came up his rookie year, everyone was totally enamored with this guy. But if you pitched him in, he was just an out.
Right.
Anything on the middle third, he's taking balls 6 inches off the plate away and hitting them out of the ballpark.
Wow.
How do you stop that?
You know, you got to have a feel to if you're an umpire. When they throw guys out get hit with breaking balls, I mean that has. If you're going to hit a guy, I want it to hurt. It's not going to be a breaking ball.
Exactly.
And so right away they run the guy out, and I'm saying, well,
I can honestly say, though, that I pitched in a game where warnings were issued and I hit a guy and they didn't throw me out because they knew I was.
he had a reputation of being the wild
I
thing.
was wild.
But speaking of wild thing, Mitch, there's a comment you had made. You went up to St. Joe's. You're very gracious to teach at one of Professor Brian's classes. You did a great job. 20-something kids. They're all 20 millenniums. Sometimes they get a bad rep. And you're terrific, by the way, very entertaining. And I'm saying to Chad the whole time, there's not going to be one question when he's done. They're going to be, okay, set the cell phones, let's get out of here. And Brian opens up the classroom to questions, and there were 12 great questions.
Yeah.
It was really very impressive. The kids were listening to you. You kept it very entertaining. One of the things you talked about up there was you had a propensity to be wild, and that shows up in the numbers a little bit respectfully. You also had a couple of years where your hits per 9 innings were better than Carlson's, where you gave up 5 hits per 9 innings, which is
I believe that.
impressive, my man.
Well, I'm
But-
the
but
only
you-
guy in baseball that threw 200 innings in his career and walked more guys than he gave up hits.
Hits, yeah. Now, you use your wildness as part of your repertoire to be effective, though. Can you talk about that a little bit?
When I was a rookie, Bill Buckner came up to me and we were talking. We were just talking baseball, and he said, hands down, your greatest attribute is your wildness, because he was left-handed. And when I missed, I always missed up and into left-handers. Wasn't on purpose.
Right.
It's just where the ball got away. But when he told me that, it was like a light going off. I'm like, really?
Check his numbers out.
Yeah, Buck could really hit until that helicopter dude got a hold of him.
Yeah.
He just died, right?
Yeah.
Last year?
died?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he died last year.
I didn't know that.
I think it was
Yeah.
maybe 2 years ago.
Or maybe 2, yeah.
And we've had some fun with the analytics on Mookie Wilson, and we're going to tell you that Mookie Wilson would have been safe anyway
Really?
if he feels the ball.
You know what's
Really?
amazing?
Well, look at how
That
far back
ball
he is.
never touched his glove.
Wilson's
Took a bat
3-8 to first.
Right.
It's soft. Take
Yeah.
how much time it takes to get
Right.
out. Okay, Wilson comes out of the batter's box flying.
Yeah, he's good
Yeah.
run.
right.
Yep.
He's running, and then Buck's going back. Okay, granted it goes through his legs, but his weight's back, Bo. So for him to push off
Right.
from that position and beat Wilson to
I
the,
believe that.
that's going to be real. So we've done it a bunch of times.
Yeah, but was Stanley covering?
I don't know.
I think
No.
Stanley was covering.
Was he? I
yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah, I think
No, the pitcher's not covering on that
He's
play.
not.
Well, I can
covering.
tell you
I
this. for a
remember
fact.
the-
I
yeah.
had this argument, Ray, and you can speak to this too. Well, we're watching Darvish one night at MLB Network. There's a fly ball to right field with 2 outs in the ninth, and Rios is playing right field. Who's the second baseman there? Went to Detroit,
Or
Texas.
uh,
Good player, hit some home runs. I can't remember his name. But anyway, the second baseman's going out, right fielder's coming in. Right fielder completely backs off, and he's standing there watching the second baseman. They gave it an error. Or no, they gave it an error originally to keep the no-hitter intact. After the game, they changed it to a hit. I argued with Harold Reynolds for 30 minutes on air one night about that not being a hit. That is an error. I don't care what you say, it is an error. He said, you know the rule, it never touches
Touch.
no,
glove.
that doesn't mean
You want me to tell you this? The ball never touched Buckner's either because it hit something and jumped.
Yeah, never hit his glove.
Never touched his glove.
Yeah.
So how is that not? That's an error. But a fly ball, it's big league baseball. You're not talking about little leagues. This has to be caught. That is an error. There's mental errors and there's physical errors,
Yep.
and they both count the same.
All right, so we're 6-0 on Abreu. We're 4-2 on Dick Allen. Now we're going to move it over to Kurt Schilling. I'm going to let.
One thing first there on before we wrap up Abreu, it's one thing I want to mention because I think Bo, you mentioned he liked to take the first pitch. For his career, he hit 290. When he takes the first pitch, 0-1, he's 346 after that. If he's 1-0, he's 370. Wow. Talk about huge differences there.
about that?
Talking 50, 60 points for taking the first
Unbelievable.
pitch.
How about
Isn't
that?
that crazy?
How about that, man?
Unbelievable.
I hated people taking the first pitch.
Oh,
I needed them to be swinging.
So Kurt Schilling's numbers are gaudy. They're
Yeah, they
unbelievable. But go ahead, Bo. You got the floor
Well,
on Kurt.
I don't know who came up with it, but every 5th day you love him. The other 4, I could care less if he was in the clubhouse.
Right.
I mean, this guy, he was a big-time pitcher. No question about it. Game's on the line. He's going to give it to you, man. And I don't mean 5 innings. He's going deep. But
I'm telling you, I'm going to say this, and I've said it for 1,000th time. Kurt Schilling, if there is a postseason wing added to the Hall of Fame,
Yep.
he's a first ballot Hall of Fame.
11-2, and a lot of the good pitchers aren't 500 in postseason.
That's right.
Those
But-
bloody socks in
But
there.
you know
Bloody
what?
socks.
The Hall of Fame,
2.23 ERA.
the Hall of Fame is based on a body of work,
Yep.
a
Right.
career.
Right.
He pitched 22 years, most of it in the National League, facing 8 hitters a night. His numbers are not better than Jack Morris's. Jack Morris won 500 and 87 or 287 games, something like that. I think it was 287.
And he dominated you want to talk about a 10-year
Facing
mark?
9 hitters a night.
Yeah.
He only played 18 years.
I think we're going to see some not so subtle differences, but I hear what you're saying. That on Kurt, 3 times 35 starts leads baseball. I had to look at this number, and I may need to double check my. Is that an 83 complete games, Bo? Is that possible?
Yeah.
83 complete
Yeah,
games.
yeah. With him,
Yeah.
I think it might
20
be.
shutouts. I could have written. all
I
this.
think that's
Wow.
right.
Yeah, I mean, 300 strikeouts 3 times. This is ridiculous. 3,000 strikeouts
How many
for his
wins did he
career.
have?
Is overall
216 or
216 and 140.
216.
216.
216.
That's
16.
what I'm saying. He pitched 22 years. You're talking about averaging
I know.
12 wins a year.
And it is 83
That's not a Hall of
complete games.
Famer.
It is.
It
right.
is 83.
And it's not personal.
I think. Yeah.
Do I
think,
like him? I can't stand him.
I think that's what it is, though.
Yeah.
I think most of the writers are going to feel the same way.
What?
That he's a dick.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean that they don't like him.
But to
Yeah.
Mitch's point, and we're going to have to figure this out because to Mitch's point, the guy's posting up. He's there, and his numbers when he's pitching are great. I mean,
Yeah,
but he's not getting wins.
that. You want me to tell you something? I'll give you a little story here about
Is
pitching.
that bullpen bonus? 'Cause he's not getting-
No, it's not that.
Well, it could be.
You
Mitch.
got 9 guys that don't give a crap whether or not Kurt Schilling wins during the regular season, but in the postseason, everybody wants to win. Greg Maddux was 3-15 when they hit Andre Dawson in the face. Eric Shaw hit him.
I was managing.
He came in the dugout, looked at Sutcliffe, and said, "I've got to hit somebody, right?" Sut said, "You're 3-15. You got to go out and throw the 5th inning, get your win, then hit somebody." Mad Dog walks out on the mound, hits the first guy, gets ejected, doesn't get the win. But he won every player's respect that plays behind him because he didn't care about himself. He was going to take care of his lineup, and every player that ever played behind Mad Dog wanted him to win. And every player that ever played behind Kurt didn't give a shit if he won until the postseason. That is why he only had 216 wins.
How about the teams he played for? Wait, factors in a little bit.
I honestly-
Baltimore, early Phillies. Is that?
Well,
He was a reliever when he came
First of
here.
all, he didn't know how to pitch in Baltimore. Johnny Padres taught this guy how to pitch.
Yep.
He turned his whole career around. And if Shield does get in there, which it sounds like he might, if he doesn't say something about Johnny Padres, I'm gonna be really disappointed because in his speech, because Johnny Padres told him to quit trying to sink the ball, throw a 4-seamer, taught him to change up. He taught him a lot, and
He learned how to pitch from Johnny.
Yeah.
When he came here, he was a middle reliever.
right.
No one knew what to do with him.
Tell the dads listening, Mitch, the difference between a 4-seamer, 2-seamer, getting on top of the baseball.
Everything you got to be on top of the ball, whether you're throwing a 4-seamer or a sinker. You can't get the ball to sink if your finger's around the side of it. Go back to Halliday in 2013. I did a breakdown on why is he getting shelled. I had to edit people at MLB Network draw a line from his ear to the tips of his fingers in 2011, 2012, and 2013. 2011, 2012, 2013. His fingers around the side of the ball. You can get it to run, but you can't get it to sink, which means you can't get it off the barrel. So I did the breakdown, and Doobie came out and told me I was full of shit. They didn't need any of my help. And I said, if his pitching coach doesn't fix this and get him back on top of the ball, he's going to break.
He did.
His next start broke and never pitched again.
He-
All because of a pitching coach that couldn't recognize, get
Interesting.
this up here.
Such Dykstra. Good. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. It's yours.
No, I
I've
was
had
just going to
plenty
say,
words.
I'm looking at his career. I mean, he was a 20-game winner 3 times. He doesn't have that 10-year stretch. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I see
I'm
it.
guessing. I didn't check yet, but I'm guessing if you look at, like, Jack Morris, there's a 10-year stretch where he was
I think we got to go to a
dominating.
vote here because it's not sounding too good. Mitch, go ahead. Start us off on the vote.
He is a great postseason
What?
pitcher. He's a great pitcher. His body of work is not a Hall of Fame caliber body of work.
Okay, we'll go.
Ray.
I agree with Mitch.
Bo?
Oh man, this is a
Tough
tough
seat.
one.
Tough seat for you, Bo.
You know what? I'm just going to say this: if you're going on postseason, yeah, but if you're going on the whole body of work,
Which is what they do.
216. That's not a lot of wins for a Hall
Not
of Famer.
for 22 years.
Okay.
Right.
But if you're going postseason, and you're asking me if I want him on the mound, yeah.
I'm gonna go yes with a 3.4 ERA. Yeah,
Okay.
those
So
postseason
we're-
stats to carry him in.
So we're 1-5. Okay, on that one. Great. Scotty Rowland. Mitch, you want to start us off with Scotty?
You know,
You got the numbers. Guys,
my
in front of
second
you.
year, or my second trip through with the Phillies, they signed me in '96, and I had to go to Clearwater and get in shape. And Scotty was playing third base at Clearwater. And I watched him play third base, and I honestly thought this might be a guy that could make people forget Mike Schmidt defensively.
Wow.
That's how gifted he was. But then he gets to the big leagues, and he doesn't. I mean, comes flat out, right out, and says, "I don't want to be a leader." And that, to me, from that point on, kind of turned me off because he was in a position to be that, and he just wasn't. I think Scotty Rowland left so many statistics on the table over the course of his career. I thought he was going to be a 500 home run guy, but he's just not. In my opinion, a Hall of Famer, when you say their name, everybody's ears in the room will go, "Oh yeah."
Right.
This is
You don't-
deceptive.
you
This is,
don't-
No doubt.
This is a deceptive.
I didn't know, honestly. I
Nobody
had
did.
no clue
Nobody did.
Scott played 17 years.
Oh, yeah,
None.
I did. He, to me, what he just said about defense, Schmidt's the best third baseman I ever played with. Scotty's a little bit under that.
And Bo is holding his.
I'm
his
talking about a little bit. This guy,
forefinger,
this-
thumb,
this
half-inch
guy-
apart.
this guy could catch everything, and
He made plays that were like Brooks Robinson type
he
plays.
was he a little bit different? Yeah. I mean, everyone thought that they traded him because they said him and I didn't get along. We got along great.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Did
We-
he hate playing in Philly?
He did, and I'm
Oh,
gonna
he
tell you, I'm
did?
going to tell you why
Okay.
he hated it.
Okay.
When he got drafted, this guy never forgot anything. So he was a big pick for the Phillies. They called him and said, "We're going to fly your mom and dad to Philly, introduce you to the staff, blah 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 blah." And he said, "Can you fly my sister?" And they went, "No, you have to pay for that." He never forgot that.
Really?
I'm telling you, this
Wow.
guy never forgot that.
Great insight.
And he held that against the Phillies to this day. He should be on the Wall of Fame. You kidding me? The Wall of Fame in Philly?
Absolutely.
He hasn't been
No
on it.
doubt.
It's unbelievable. This guy
I just
could
don't
play.
think
this-
he scratched the surface of what he really could have done.
I'll tell you what, Mitch. I tell you, I'm,
Look
I'm,
at the
I'm-
numbers, Mitch. I mean,
I'm telling you, I think this guy. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
I took a 10-year, so I took, like I did with Dick Allen, 310 home runs over his best 10-year span, and I got 255 with Rowland over a 10-year span.
That was the biggest shock to everybody, was the lack of power, because you're talking about a big dude.
You know what, Mitch? He was around Bobby a lot. He didn't like, in BP, if you watch him, everything was the other way. Everything's the other way. He would rather be a good hitter. And Bobby used to say that to guys. Be a good hitter. Don't worry about home runs. They'll come.
that's great.
And Scotty was Scotty's a good player.
Well, Bo, if I said I had a guy for the team that you're starting, and for the next 5 years he's going to bat 282, 375 on base percentage, 504 slugging with an 877 OPS. You going to want that guy?
I'm in.
You're in.
I'm in.
And his career is not much different. 281, 364, 490, 855.
I'm all in.
70 WAR. His WAR is higher than Abreu's. This guy's sneaky impressive over his career and picks it.
I mean, look at his WAR too.
And he
70
had
WARs.
a cannon.
Chuck.
Yes, he did. What did he do in Philly in comparison to St. Louis? I think he relaxed when he got to St. Louis.
Well, he didn't like Tony. I know.
Well, Mitch, the typical
Tony's back.
the typical pushback to that is assuming that their careers are fairly balanced team wise. It looks like they are. I'm sorry, hold on one second. We'll bring you up to date.
Like they're pretty similar
Yeah,
on the
very
batting
sim-
average.
very
wise.
similar.
282 in Philly.
If he
82,
did so
86 in
bad
St.
at the
Louis.
latter stage with another team, it would dilute his lifetime numbers. But he adds up to a 70
I
WAR.
honestly thought he would get better. I thought statistically it would show he got better
Chad,
when he got to St.
Chad,
Louis.
would you give us the breakdown on Philly versus
It's
St.
pretty
Louis?
similar. He had 282 in Philly. He had 286 in St. Louis. Philly,
Wow.
he was at 7 years. St. Louis, he's 6 years. Base percentage right there, 370 for both, slugging 500 for both. It's near identical.
Same player.
Yeah.
So I'll tell
Near
you,
identical.
I'll tell you what sticks
I'll
out.
have to say I'm wrong on that then.
Well, you know what? That's why we're here today. I think it's good.
I think he's. I think
It's
he's,
absolutely
it's good.
sneaky.
I,
I
no,
would
I-
have never
it is.
said
I
yes.
think
Right.
he's. I think he's like Jimmy. I think they're both Hall of Fame
It's going to be a
players.
tough vote. I feel it coming.
I agree with you, Coach, and I'll tell you why. If you look at guy was a 7-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year,
Man.
8-time Golden
Gold
Glove
Glove.
winner. If I look at that, that's where the glaring statistics come out. But I got something for you, Chuck
Go ahead,
and
Bubba.
Chad.
Bring it.
I took the best. So we're going to take a fourth player, and we're going to call him Joe Smith.
Right.
Okay, so I took the best.
What position?
Yeah, that's
Right.
important. We're going to say first base.
Okay.
Good point.
We'll give him first base.
All right.
My damn headphones. But anyway, so if we took the best statistics from all these three players, he would have a 70 WAR. He would have 2,470 hits. He would have 351 homers, and he would have a 292 career average.
Righty or
Do we
lefty?
all agree that that's Hall?
Yeah, a righty or left-handed hitter.
Lefty, 'cause I was lefty.
Sounds like you're talking about McGriff.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Fred
Oh,
McGriff.
where
There
really,
you go.
Bob?
There's another one.
you
That's
are-
for another show.
Yeah.
Fred McGriff.
Next week.
There's
Fred
a guy.
McGriff
that was-
should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Remember, you
Now,
used to
see-
let go,
was that the
let go
player?
of his top
Now,
man.
you say
no.
for-
I took the best out of
Oh, okay.
all the
Yeah.
statistics from Abreu.
You did a composite.
Allen, and
Combined.
right.
You did a
Okay.
composite.
I just combined the best, and if it was just,
That's right there.
But McGriff's
If you
also
a-
got 500 home runs.
If you ask me,
yeah.
Fred McGriff or Scott Rowland, it wouldn't even be close. I'd say McGriff, but he has that wow factor to him.
Correct, but he may not have the best. What was his career average? And he did have over 500, correct?
Yeah.
I wonder
I
what
saw
the
him
issue.
as a rookie.
There's no reason he's not in the Hall of
yeah,
Fame.
That's
what's
crazy.
the issue?
That's
with
what
him?
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You can't compare all that. We're looking at that. There's guys with his numbers sitting at home, not in the Hall of Fame.
Sounds like a tough vote. We're going to start with the professor on Scotty Rowland. We got 1-0. Mitch,
I'm going to have to go with what I saw and say, yeah, those numbers add up to a Hall of
that's
Famer.
2-0. What do we got, big guy?
Yeah, with the 7 All Stars and
They
the
were-
8.
I'm all in on.
I'm
Yeah.
all in.
All in here.
You're
Yeah,
all
I'm
in.
in. He's in.
He's with Abreu 6-0. Now, who thought before the day started we were going to have 2 6-0s and you're going to say it was going to be Abreu and Rowland? Okay.
Yeah.
You look
Right.
at Roland too. If you do look at WAR, he's tied for 100th all time.
Yeah, it's
Some pretty big
unbelievable.
names in front and behind him there too.
We have, so that kind of concludes that. We have a lightning round, which we're going to have a little bit of fun with the time we have left. Chad, you want to run us through the lightning round?
Yeah, let's pull it up here.
Yep.
Look at Fred McGriff. Now you got me on McGriff. I forgot about him.
All right, rapid fire here.
Here we go. Rapid fire, guys.
Start
Hop
with
in.
Mitch or Bo, whoever wants to start
He
here.
did
Are-
not hit 500. 493.
493. There you go.
Are analytics helping or hurting the game of baseball?
I
Hurting.
think
The way they're applied.
I'll say it helps, but let me put a little asterisk there. There's a lot of stuff that's too much in your head. There's some stuff that I think I like.
There's a lot of acronyms that don't need to exist.
Right.
I
Agreed.
think if you don't know how to apply them,
Right.
analytics are dangerous.
Yeah,
It needs to be a combination of people who
I
understand
think
the game with the
a
analytics.
combo.
Both guys that played professional baseball, you got paid. That was your profession.
Right.
You'd rather have them than not. Analytics. To use at your discretion. You'd certainly-
I would say to use at my discretion. Yeah.
At my discretion.
Amen. Amen. Touche. You agree? We all agree? No?
I do. I just I don't know. I'm an old time. Like they take the scouting away from the scouts. They're the GMs are guys like you said that never play
That's
the
what I mean.
game. I mean, it's just kind of.
If you're pitching to Howard, do you want to know the shade, right, to put the shift on?
But we
I
knew-
would-
I'm against the shift, by the way.
But we
I
knew-
think
but we
guy
knew-
hits a ball in the
wait a
right
minute.
field
You
should
don't-
be a hit.
You don't want to legislate it out of baseball, do you?
No.
Oh, come
Not
on.
the shift.
If a guy doesn't want
The
to,
commissioner's trying to take it out.
oh, I know.
but
You know what? If you
it's
can't-
terrible if we do
can't-
that.
you got to learn how to deal with the handle the bat.
Thank you.
I seen Roberto Clemente hit a ground ball. If he was seeing his shift like that, he did a ground ball to second
Absolutely.
base. Willie Stargell. We couldn't place Willie Stargell over there like
Great
that.
point. You know, it disappointed me a little since we had a chance to meet Utley and became great acquaintance of Utley. He came up against the Red Sox a couple times. It was key. They put nobody on that side. Chase wouldn't lay a bunt down. Now, I know it wasn't a game situation where they trailed by 2
Right,
you
right,
had to go
right.
2-0. No, just would lead off an inning with a bunt down the third base
But
line.
do you want Harper like he does? You want him drag
At
bunt down
times,
third
if
base?
it's
You want him on base.
Let me
You
ask you
want him on
this:
base.
if
You want him on
we're,
base.
if we're down 3 runs and he's leading off the 7th inning, Get on base.
Get on base there.
Now, if
right?
the score's 1-0 or 2-1, no, I don't want him doing that. But if you're down 3 runs, you need some base runners. Now let somebody else hit one out.
Right.
So
that
And
speaks
you've,
to
and
a-
you've seen Harper do that last
Yeah,
season.
Harper-
No, that's why I said it. He does do
I'm
it.
glad he does it.
He does do it.
I'm glad he does it.
I love Hart. Real not to get off the subject. I was kind of didn't like him when he first came
Right.
up with the Nationals and everything. Thought he was, but since he's come to Philly, and me and Mitch talked about it a lot of the days. Just the way he won over the fans.
yeah.
But see, he didn't play like that in Washington.
I guess not, Bo, because
I saw it.
I love the way he played. He
If
plays
he
balls to the wall.
If he
Philly.
keeps playing like that, he's going to win these fans over. But if he reverts back to how he was the last 2 years in Washington,
Boy, you're nailed it, Bo. I bet his numbers in Washington last year
It was-
defensively were putrid.
He was
right?
on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 16 as the next Mantle.
I think he knows the attitude of this city. That's why.
His numbers aren't elite level, but they're very good.
Yeah,
but
they are.
They're,
They're
they're not
really
in the top 10
Right.
of baseball,
Right.
right? Yeah. So
He will have some great seasons.
Okay, what is this rapid fire?
Here's a
All
fun-
right, I'm sorry,
We
Mitch.
got 3
Mitch.
more left. We got about 5 minutes.
before
Okay.
we do, quick question for Bo as a manager. So we have this tie, this extra inning rule. You get a runner on second.
No, I'm not.
Right?
on that.
Little
Against
league.
it.
I don't want that.
Okay,
Little
so
League.
wait.
They couldn't give me that law.
And I don't want 7-inning doubleheaders.
Right,
I mean,
right.
come on.
I know,
all
that's
that with
bullshit.
you. We all agree on that. That didn't even this fast vote. Would you, however, Bo, with a man on second, nobody out, automatically walk? That I would the next batter strategically to be able to set up a double play because you're the
Depends
run.
who the next batter is.
Well, let's assume he wasn't really good, but you still have a double play.
Well, if
So-
I got Harper coming up with a first base open, and I got Reese Hoskins behind him,
Right.
and I got a right-handed pitcher, I'm walking Harper.
You know, right. You just don't see much of it where you have a double play set up, and they don't do
Yeah,
that.
last year they
How-
did away with having to throw
How
the
about-
4 pitches for a walk, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about this one? You're playing the 7th game of a World Series. Okay, the series is tied at 3 games to 3 games. So and so leads the game off bottom of the 9th with a double.
Right.
Now the analytics say don't bunt him over.
Right.
I'm bunting every
Bunt him
single
over.
time to win put a ring on my finger and hope somebody hits a fly ball or gets a base hit or something. But
You
the
know why?
analytics say
A lot of ways
don't
to
do
score
it.
'em.
And you're not taking Stell out last year for sure, right?
Are you
How about
kidding
that,
me?
right? How about that, man? All right, what do we got?
I
there?
like the
3
safety squeeze that's not used, but go ahead.
I
We
love
got
to see
3
that.
minutes here.
Go
All
ahead.
right, quick fix for the MLB. Top 2 suggestions. 1 or 2 suggestions. What do you got?
Quick fix.
Quick
Yep.
fix for the Major League
What's going to
Baseball.
improve it?
fire
Take
the,
out the 3
fire
innings.
the friggin' commissioner. That would
Wait a
improve
minute.
the game immediately.
Take out, and you'll agree with me because you hate this. Take the 3-inning. The relievers have to pitch to 3
Terrible,
batters, not
terrible.
3 innings.
Yep.
That
have
will
to face
destroy.
3
That will
batters.
destroy the game. The
Right.
strategy of the game. It just takes away from the game.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Mine is either you have the DH or you don't.
Agreed.
Forget all this other stuff.
For me,
Both leagues have it or both leagues don't. That's
I
it.
think,
That's a
the
good call.
consensus is people want both leagues to have it too.
Well, then they should have it then.
see, I disagree.
The
I
only
thi-
thing is, Mitch, if you watch the game now, how many times you see a pitcher break his finger trying to bunt, pulls a hamstring running to first base,
You don't want to see that.
goes first to third and
Right.
blows out his knee because he
Yeah.
can't slide.
Yeah.
So, and let's face it, they're getting paid a lot of money. Keep them out of the batter's
And they
box.
don't even try to hit now, Bo. They're not training at the
No,
level.
and they don't, a lot of them don't hit since high school.
AOU, they're not training pitchers to.
When do these pitchers become such awful athletes? Like they
Because
feel the
we've made
ground
them that
ball.
way.
Exactly.
exactly right.
Exactly. They feel the ground ball there and they pull them like you said.
now,
they
now
blow
they have
their
little
knee out.
league teams that have
Well,
not pitchers,
you-
POs,
you-
pitchers only.
You see it at your level now with your son, and before this, because we were seeing it, where the pitchers were pitchers, period.
Oh yeah.
So it was always the pitcher that was your shortstop because he was your best athlete, best player.
Correct.
But we started to see it 16 up where the pitchers were pitching. I'd say to the other
Oh, yeah.
coach, you got to put that kid out. Colin can really play shortstop.
Yeah.
He's our best athlete.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You
At
know-
college, we don't even see the pitchers.
No.
Right,
No.
right,
We don't even see them.
right.
You know what-
You don't see them at practice.
You know what
They're-
cracks me up? A ground ball to first, the pitcher's got to cover first, and everybody calls timeout to tie their shoes. Everybody, because we got to let him catch his breath. You can't run from the mound to cover first and then get back on the mound and pitch.
That's the only thing our pitchers did. Then we didn't see them. PFPs, whatever they call them, ground balls covering first, and then they would go away for 2 hours.
Anything else here?
Yeah, we had two more
Go
real
ahead,
short
real
ones.
quick.
Today's professional athletes work as hard to stay in shape as athletes 25 years ago.
Yeah, I think they work harder.
They work harder,
Yeah.
but they don't play as hard.
Look at the bodies. Watch a game from
Yep.
1980
They got-
like
Can't
I
disagree
did.
with that.
They got personal trainers and
Yep.
they work out
Yeah.
every single day.
All right, we touched on this earlier. Take the the jugs, guns out of it, whatever. Where does it miles per hour top off in baseball, or has it?
Where to what?
Where does
It-
the miles
it's
per
done.
hour
Are we
top
there?
off
Is
in
it?
baseball?
We're not going to get faster. We can't throw faster anymore.
God did not start making more arm speed, gentlemen.
Right. Okay.
Arm speed is velocity.
So whether it's inaccurate jugs or not, 100's it. We're not going to see 105. We're not. It's right. It's 100
No,
miles.
I don't
Unless
think-
somebody
Oh,
invents another gun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Where they
but,
get
but,
the
but
ball.
you know what we're missing the point here on this velocity stuff. There's
How you
guys that know
pitch.
how to pitch.
How you pitch.
That throw 92,
got it.
93,
You
and
got it.
change speeds, sink it, cut it, hook, change up. The whole idea, and Mitch knows this. He was a power pitcher, but most starting pitchers, your whole game plan is to keep a hitter off balance. Either get him out in front or get him behind.
Control the bat speed.
Yeah, and we don't teach that anymore. It's
Real,
more
real
velocity,
quick, I watch Vanderbilt. It's Division I college
which is
baseball.
one of the top colleges.
Absolutely. Developing pitchers.
Right.
I watch Vanderbilt and Louisville. They had 5, 6 guys on each team throwing 98 or better.
Right.
98 or this
not
is
happening.
this is college.
We have a whole stable full.
You want to
guys
know what
can
that
throw
is?
90.
You want to know what 98 is? It's 91, actually. And God made
Has
a lot of
to
guys
be.
that
It
can throw
has to be.
91.
Because real 98's not hittable.
I'm telling, ask Bo.
If
You throw
He's here.
a guy out there for one inning. If I'm throwing 100, they're not hitting me.
Right.
Period.
So we're saying raw
Not
100.
one at bat.
Yeah, we're not hitting.
No.
Yeah.
Nolan
All right, guys.
Ryan had to be one of the hardest throwers
let me
ever.
tell you
I
something.
think.
Not only was he a hard thrower, he was mean.
Yes.
He would drill you in a minute.
Did Rose really say to you in the playoff game, if you get on base, we're going to win this
he
game?
did.
Did
And
he
then
really?
If you check out that
So Pete
video-
wasn't bullcrapping me when I
no.
talked that.
And if you check out the video when Ryan walked him
Right.
to walk in a run after he fouled off all those pitches, because I was a guy that scored, he went, "You ain't got enough," and I'm going, "Oh, Pete, what are you doing, man?"
Has there ever been a better throw than Trio's relay throw?
No.
Oh
not,
my
not
God.
considering
seed.
the situation, how much the game meant.
How fast he.
Right.
But the
Jeter cutting across the infield.
That was
in the
good. That
yeah.
was good.
But how about the right field job we do? How fast we relay the ball to
Then
Trio.
Bake to Trio.
And
to
then
Booney.
Boone's right there in the throws. That's just an amazing play. Bitch, give us some advice for the kids before we wrap up, real quick. Best advice, kids listening, baseball players.
I'll give some advice to the young pitchers.
Yep.
Get out and throw.
Throw.
And throw and throw and throw. But make sure you have somebody that is capable teaching you the mechanics of doing it.
Makes sense.
That's my stuff.
Go where you can play. I know guys. They went to a Division I school. That go 5-55 every year. It's awful. Go to a Division II powerhouse and win. And they were just saying it yesterday. A coach came out and said it. These guys, they got D1 in their head, and they go to University of Baltimore, Maryland County, and like I said, they get their heads kicked in. There's D2 schools and junior
That's
colleges.
such a great point.
Well, there's D2 schools and junior colleges that could go to war
Big
against
fish
any
in a
Division
small
I
pond,
team.
right?
That's
buddy?
right.
Right. Well,
So
Mine is don't let anybody tell you can't do something, no matter what your size is. Learn how to play the game, all aspects of the game. There's one thing that the analytics can't measure: your head and your heart. And if you got the head and the heart, and we could talk about something else, but we can't say it on the air. If you have those three,
Coyoons.
and you have ability,
Cojones.
yeah, you can go a
Cojones.
long way. You can go a long way.
yeah, my advice as a coach would be the kids find ways to keep it fun.
Yep.
Set up a competition in your practice session, but don't practice wrong. And dads are so well intended, and dads give it their time working long days and all. Like we go by the park. What do we do every time we go by the park, bud?
I always stop.
I always got to stop. And on most of the time, I'll hop out of my car and say, "Dad, do you have a minute? I don't want to, no. What do you got?" They say, "Listen, your kid's foot can't be there
Right.
because he's practicing the
And-
wrong reps at 8, which means he's at 9, Bo, at
And-
10, and now it's a million
If you-
wrong reps. How the heck you going to do that, Mitch?
If you go on Twitter and you see some of these jerks trying to teach hitting to these kids,
Right.
it's unbelievable. And I know the parents, they just want their kid, they think they're getting good teaching. They're teaching them the wrong way.
Yes.
And until we get people that teach them the proper way to swing the bat, to catch a ground ball, to throw off the mound, then we're going to have a lot of problems.
And when
These-
they
these
do
guys
it
are-
right-
these guys are stealing money from these parents,
Stealing. Right.
and I'm not
I-
blaming the
No,
parents.
I hear you.
I
Bob.
had we had a showcase business, and I got to tell you, we had 150 kids. You make a fortune, and
Oh.
and I had all the big D1 schools there, and guess what? They know the 3 kids that are good
They know what I mean.
because these parents are over. They go to camps every week,
Right.
And the coaches are like, this guy was just at my camp,
Yeah, yeah,
North
yeah.
Carolina, and then
Yep.
they go to Wake Forest every week, and they're not. They just don't have it.
If you can make practice fun, kids will get better through reps if they're doing the right
they're
reps.
doing
They'll
it
have
the right
more
way.
success. They'll like the game.
They'll have more fun because they're successful.
Yeah,
It's that
feeds
simple.
fun. What do you got, Bud?
My only thing from just wrapping up playing a few years ago would be play to your strengths. For me, I was a lefty. I bunt all the time. I was very fast, and I knew that if there was a guy on first or second, I was looking to put a bunt down, get him over, or something like that. A lot of times it'd be a win-win. You know, I'd put one down third, they throw it
playing
over
your
first.
game.
You have second and third right there.
I've
just for putting a bunt
I've
down.
seen a bunt start
and-
more big innings
you
than
know what?
anything else.
You know what that's called? It's called winning baseball, but we
baseball.
don't
And
teach that
to
anymore.
Well, I
get
had
you out
parents.
of slumps too, by the way.
I had parents.
Get you
That's
out
my
of
dad
slumps.
always said. It was a slump breaker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Put,
Can't
put
ever
it
get in
down.
a slump if you know how to bunt.
That's right.
All right, Mitch, bring this home, baby. Nice job, everybody. This was a lot of fun.
I want to say thanks to Bo and Chuck and Chad and Ray. This was fun.
This was a blast.
I
Thanks,
hope
Bo.
people
Guys,
at home learned something. We'll do it again soon.
God bless everybody. Thanks
All
for a
right.
lot of fun.
Take care.
Thanks, my man.